and today we are going to tell you everything about him and all his ups and downs. Why is Björn Borg such a great figure in tennis? You would say that there are so many players who are quite spectacular with the racket as well, and that is indeed true. Then what makes Borg such an icon? Honestly speaking, there isn't a huge specific reason, it's just his aura and style that makes him who he is. Part of the reason why Borg is so famous is because he is just so interesting to be watched, and the second thing is his very unique playing style. We are definitely going to talk about it in the later part of this video, so do keep watching to the very end. Borg was born just a bit farther away from Stockholm and was an only child. This one time, after winning a table tennis tournament, his dad gifted him a golden tennis racket. Like any other kid, Björn Borg was fascinated with the racket, but he went a step ahead. He became immersed in the sport as well. If you were a neighbor, you would have seen young Borg spending hours and hours hitting the tennis ball with his racket against a garage door. He came to the decision of pursuing tennis professionally, and seeing that his son did have a lot of passion for the game, his father supported him as well. The person that noticed him and brought Björn Borg in the world of professional tennis was tennis coach Percy Rosberg. Borg practiced regularly under him and trained very hard. The results were quite immediate. Just at the age of 11, he won his first match, and just 2 years later, he went on to win the Swedish Junior National Championships. As you could already tell by now, Borg was definitely a natural in the game. The titles just kept on coming. At the age of 15, he was the Swedish representative in the Davis Cup, and in the same year, he also got the title of the Wimbledon Junior Singles in his bag. By this time, people were noticing him. They knew that someone was out there who was quite dominant in the game, and as we all know now, they were absolutely right. Between 1978 and 1980, Björn Borg was not just dominating, he was completely undefeatable in the court. He swept the French Open and then overcame Connors in the 1978 Wimbledon with straight sets. He won his fourth French Open singles and the Wimbledon singles, which basically stamped his authority as the best tennis player in the world. His form was unstoppable, but if you thought that was all he had, you are very wrong. Like we said, he wasn't stopping anytime soon. In 1980, Borg won his first Masters and the first title in New York after beating Gerulaitis in straight sets. The French Open was now a cakewalk for him, as he got the fifth one in his career, and that too with straight sets. It seemed like even Wimbledon was now his arena. The same year, he won his fifth consecutive Wimbledon title in the men's singles finals. If you are a tennis fan, you would immediately recognize the match we're talking about. The 1980 Wimbledon men's singles final is considered to be one of the best matches ever played. The reason is simple: the electricity between the two opponents for nearly 4.5 hours. Borg was playing to get a record fifth title. On the other hand, McEnroe was there as his first ever Wimbledon appearance. As you can understand, both of them were there to make a mark, and the intensity of both the players was evident in the game. Both of them had something to prove and gave it all in the match, making it something that you should rather watch instead of us describing it to you. Just to give you an idea about how famous this match really is, did you know this was also part of a movie? Yes, that's right. The 2017 film Borg vs. McEnroe tells the story of these two facing each other off in this very match. You can also get a glimpse of Leo, who played young Borg in the movie and is Borg's son in reality. Although Borg did win the title, McEnroe got his revenge the next time when he stopped Borg from winning his straight sixth Wimbledon. Thanks to these two facing off, we also got one of the most famous pairs in the history of tennis. Do you know what the pair of Borg and McEnroe is nicknamed as? Tennis fans will surely do. They were called Fire and Ice because of their completely different natures on the court. Borg was known to be calm and composed and not give a single reaction to his opponents, and what can we say, his technique did work well. McEnroe was known to show his aggressive athletic-ness during the matches. Their rivalry was pretty famous and gave us some of the most spectacular matches in tennis. You would have thought that such an amazing career meant that Björn Borg was going to play a long way. After all, he was breaking records left and right. Just to name a few, he still has the unbroken record of 33 wins in the Davis Cup singles. The Grand Slam title at the French Open was only recently broken by Rafael Nadal. All of this would convince anyone that Borg was going to be in the circuit for a long time. But the shock came in 1982, when he suddenly announced his retirement. As you can imagine, it was a decision that no one could make sense of. Over all the interviews, Borg said he wanted to retire because playing tennis was no longer fun for him. In his own words, he wanted to start doing other things. Borg was just 26 years old when he took the decision, and the tennis world was quite at a loss. Because let's face it, if he would have kept playing for a few more years, there would have been so many more records made for the history pages. A lot of people also had the view that he came to this conclusion because of a burnout ever since he lost to McEnroe in his last Grand Slam final at Wimbledon. In 1991, during the Monte Carlo Masters, he did attempt to make a comeback, but that was not really satisfactory. He was out of training for all those years, decided to go up against the modern racket with a wooden one, and things just weren't tied up right. The tennis world had lost a gem by then. After ending his tennis career, as he did say, Borg started to expand his passions. In 1989, he started a clothing line company. You have surely heard of Björn Borg. Oh no, not him. It is just his clothing line that sells high-end underwear. But quite opposite to the game of tennis, he didn't have straight success in this line. In fact, when he first started with his entrepreneur journey, he nearly went bankrupt, but as you can tell now, he is in a much better place. But let us come back to the question that we first asked you guys in the beginning of this video. What is so special about Björn Borg? At least you have some answers now. World record, a name in the House of Fame, and surprise decisions all add to Borg's character as an individual. But what made him very different from the rest was his playing style. His appearance with the long hair and headband became an icon in the game of tennis. If you have ever seen any of his matches, you would notice that he is bow-legged. In spite of that, he was extremely fast on the court. He was also quite strong enough to deliver a powerful topspin to his competitors. But what was even more unique was his slap shot styled backhand move. Have you seen that? Because that is not just astonishing, but somehow quite amusing to watch as well. It is actually very similar to the way a player would do slap shot in the game of hockey. But wait, how did Borg learn that? Simple, he also loved playing hockey when he was a kid. Not as much as tennis, which is pretty obvious, but we are sure that is exactly how he developed this special move. Although Björn Borg was in the world of tennis for just 10 years, we can all safely say that it was one of the most successful careers ever built in the game. Being ranked number 1 for 109 weeks, winning 11 Grand Slam titles, and 5 Wimbledon wins in a row is far, far away from an easy task, especially when no one else has done it. Yet, what do you think about Björn Borg? Do you believe that he is a legend? Let us know in the comment section below, because we would love to hear what you have to say. Also, if you loved the video, make sure to hit the like button and do not forget to subscribe to our channel. We will be back very soon.